Yep, that's the fact that that's not a lie is baffling. Generic control the Doc Goes Moo here, back with another kill count. Today we're doing Stephen King's It miniseries part 1 and part 2, all in the same video. Last week's video was my introduction to Child's Play, which were the Chucky movies, which was Chucky 1 and Chucky 2. I'll leave my reaction to that video right up there, also linked down below in the description. Also in a playlist on my channel with all my other kill count reactions going in chronological order. You all seem to really enjoy that video, and I learned so much about Chucky. Apparently he keeps the strength as he was as like a 185-pound man as he was before he got turned into the doll. But today we're doing Stephen King's It, which is another movie I have not seen. I have actually reacted to Nostalgia Critic covering these movies. There's like over 100 Nostalgia Critic videos on my channel if you would check that out. Some of them even raise money for charity from time to time. So shout out to the patrons. I could not do that if it was not for the negative videos there early. Allow me to have a paywall channel because I'm here to make you smile, not make you pay, and hopefully I can make your day just a tiny little bit better. I should be live streaming today at 5 p.m. playing some more Undertale. It's my second run, and I'm doing the Genocide run, which is heartbreaking so far. So I'll be live streaming on Twitch at 5 p.m. today, or 30 minutes after the video goes live. Also, before this should have been, hopefully, Has Been Hotel and Dragon Ball Z Bridge with Kirby. So let's go ahead and jump to Stephen King's It. Hopefully I don't have to blur any scenes, and I actually don't remember how many kills there were in these movies. I remember the plot, but let's go ahead and jump into Stephen King's It. Alright, so I've never seen these movies, but I've reacted to Nostalgia Critic covering them.
Welcome to the kill count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies.
And he did this because the new movie was coming out, which was a big deal. I remember it being a big deal.
On ABC in 1990. Originally conceived as an 8 to 10 hour television epic, writer Lawrence D. Cohen was forced to whittle it down to a mere 3 hours. A difficult task, given the source material was an 1,100-page novel. Look at this thing. It tells the story of a group of middle school-aged outcasts called the Losers Club in the small town of Derry, Maine.
Of course, always Maine.
And torment at the hands of Pennywise the Dancing Clown, embodiment of a greater evil force haunting Derry. 30 years later, Pennywise returns to plague the town once more, stealing kids and eating them up, so the Losers Club is forced to regroup in order to try and vanquish the evil force once and for all.
Wait, what?
Tim Curry's portrayal of Pennywise is the most memorable part of this production. The story of It is one of King's finest.
Oh yeah, they did do it from that when they were kids. Yeah.
And facing your demons. Of course, you can't really face your demons if you get killed by an evil clown. And how many people end up becoming victims of Pennywise?
I actually don't know. I don't remember that many kills from the movie.
The movie begins with scrapbook photos.
I will be doing the recounts, by the way. People comment about that.
As they should, since he's the reason we're all here. A picture of a theater fades from 1960 into 1990, the present time for the adult storyline in the film. A little girl named Lori Ann is riding her trike as a storm approaches, but before she can get back inside, she sees something by the clothesline. What are you seeing there, little girl?
Oh, clown.
Creepy-ass clown.
Why are you smiling?
The clown gets even scarier and then charges at Lori in a first-person shot, killing her off screen. Just a heads up as we start off here, a lot of the kills are done this way. It's a little unsatisfying, but probably a result of the miniseries
being on TV.
We're just gonna have to deal with it and look forward to the theatrical release of the new It coming out next week. Lori Ann's murder draws the interest of
perfect
Mike
timing.
Hamill, the first member we meet of the Losers Club, and played by Tim Reed, who was the dad in Sister Sisters, so that's fun. Apparently, there's been a string of kids disappearing or winding up dead.
And he knows exactly what's going on.
There's something terribly wrong here in Derry.
Absolutely terrible. After getting dismissed by the police chief, Mike notices a picture sitting by a tree, and it's not just a child actor's headshot. It's a little boy he recognizes as someone named Georgie. He takes to his diary to tell the audience that he's freaking out, man, over the picture he just
Why does he have a towel around
his band back?
I guess because
so let's meet our ensemble cast. First up, hanging out in this mansion in England, is Bill, a horror writer rocking an awful ponytail who's busy working on a screenplay. Part of Bill's purpose is to be an extremely obvious stand-in for Stephen
he does have a ponytail.
If they're gonna hire somebody to mangle one of my books, might as well be me.
He's having dinner with his lovely wife Audra, an actress set to star in the picture he's working on. But their meal is interrupted by a phone call from Mike, who tells him quite plainly, "It's back."
Also,
sure.
And yeah,
bro is just casually wearing jeans in his house with the shirt tucked in.
When Mike mentions Georgie's name, which triggers a flashback for Bill and our first extended look at the movie's other timeline. One day in 1960, when Bill was sick, he gave his little brother Georgie a paper boat to go mess around with. It actually looks like a pretty fun time for a little kid.
I mean, yeah.
Boat as it sails down the
yeah, no, I remember doing that like at least and stuff.
The boat slips into the gutter as Georgie's looking down.
He didn't see that coming.
The clothesline clown pops up. They have a great conversation that's worth the price of admission alone, since Tim Curry is and always will be magnificent. Georgie tells the clown he can't talk to strangers.
I don't know if I've seen Tim Curry in any movie I've seen.
I, Georgie, am Pennywise the Dancing Clown.
You're not dancing though.
Georgie, so now we know each other.
Pennywise invites Georgie to come hang with him in his subterranean clown spot, but it takes a lot of coaxing to convince him, including the promise of balloons.
Do they float?
Oh yes, they float.
They all float.
That's enough to get Georgie to reach down for his boat, at which point Pennywise gets weird.
You float too!
Pennywise grabs his arm and goes to eat the camera, and that's the way the Georgie crumbles for our second
Yeah,
kill.
does he...
Later,
how does he even get him?
Torn off, which is pretty freaking badass. But again, most of these kills are going to be off screen like this. Sorry. After the funeral, Bill looks through a photo album. And
yeah, then there's also whatever, like the last scene
in
the book,
like that was
which
creepy
is
as hell
weird.
before Harry Potter came along and made it magical. But not even the boy who lived could make spontaneously bleeding photo albums not creepy. And what's worse is that Bill has no one to talk to about the changes he may be experiencing.
It all looks fine. Oh no, actually, it's covered in blood.
Parents
Okay.
don't seem to notice the blood at all. With that flashback taken care of, we get our first of many match cuts back into the present, where Bill says to himself that he had forgotten everything that had happened back then.
Decent
he goes
transition.
To leave despite his wife's protestation.
A little
She
slow,
says she's willing
but
to go with him, but he tells her no and gives her a very forceful hug. Now on to New York City, where John Ritter is a drunk architect named Ben Henson, who's so dope he wins awards for architecture, even if he's not
real
exactly
civil engineer would have a word
Let
about
me just
this.
say, I miss John Ritter a lot. He's having a great time right now, though, chilling with his Time magazine cover and playing drunken rich guy grab ass.
Time magazine as
telling
an
her about how
architect?
he used to be fat, but just like with Bill, a phone call interrupts him. Mike tells him it's come back and asks how much he remembers.
Very little.
Mike then asks
Bro has
Ben
an
if
armadillo
he's promised to return to Derry. Ben agrees to, but
on
he
his
don't
neck.
look happy about it. He gives his lady the hand because it's 1990, then goes to a skyscraper to have a drunken flashback. Ben was the new kid in town who wasted no time falling for this quiet girl in class named Beverly Marsh, and who also wasted no time falling victim
Where's
to
he
some
staring her down?
post-war
Dude,
bullying
what
by
a-
class greaser Henry Bowers. just
what is
because
the
he's fat.
hair?
I'm putting air quotes every time I say Ben's fat, by the way. That kid barely qualifies as husky. Henry gets detention and
True.
blames Ben, so after school when Ben's walking home, he gets harassed by Henry and his crony greasers, Vic and Belch. Yes, that kid's name is Belch.
Yep.
That's why. Henry
That
tries
makes
to carve
sense.
his name into
No,
Ben's
stiletto.
stomach, but Ben kicks him away and tumbles down a hill into an area called the Barrens, eventually hiding in a pipe while the greasers pick on Bill and his tiny asthmatic friend, Eddie Kasprak. After the greasers leave, the three losers bond over tossing rocks into water, because that's what kids did.
No,
before
that's
they
what
had
guys
endless hours
do.
of cat videos available in their pockets. Later on in the day,
No,
after his
no,
cousin
guys
teaches
just
him
do
about
that.
a love letter he's writing for Bev,
You see a
he
big
returns
stone,
to
you
the
see a
Barrens
water,
and
you gotta
is
throw
shocked
it.
to find the waving image of his late father who was killed in Korea. Turns out his dad's relocated.
That's my home now, son.
It always makes me sad to see a dad get a shitty new place after a separation. Can't be too sad though, he's got balloons. And guess what? They all float. Oh, and also, he's a clown. Pennywise disappears, and then Ben dodges a mossy bone hand from a nasty skeleton guy who tells Ben that he'll float down there. Not sure where exactly they keep talking about, but it sounds like some kind of underground zero-G simulator. The flashback ends and adult Ben is sad. Now let's blast on over to Chicago to meet up with Bev, who's a successful fashion
England,
designer.
New York
She's dating
City,
a
and
stereotypical
Chicago.
80s businessman whose favorite movie is definitely Wall Street for all the wrong reasons.
What
This
do you
guy
mean,
is
Wall
a
Street's a
super
movie?
douche.
I know Wolf of Wall Street.
Don't ever contradict me in front of Pam again, okay?
So he probably won't be the most understanding when Bev gets a call from Mike later that night. In fact, when he comes back and finds her packing, he gets so incensed that he straight up slaps her in the face, then threatens her with a belt. Bev knows getting back to Derry is super important though, so she
Cool
throws shit at him
fireplace.
and leaves. In the taxi ride
That's
to the
fair.
airport, she has her own little flashback to her childhood.
As they all do.
She remembers a time she found a poem on her porch, which was
What was the
unbeknownst to
budget
her,
for
left
this?
by Ben.
Do we know?
Her father finds her with the note and reads it. He gets scary pissed. Pissed enough to slap her in the face. Damn, man, can people stop slapping Bev in the face for just like 5 minutes, please?
Yeah,
Runs away
no,
from her dad and
I think
Bev
Nostalgia made a joke
takes
about
her
that.
to the Barrens to meet Eddie and Bill. Ooh, she liked Bill. Then they're joined by two more losers. Richie Tozier is played by Seth Green and is the kind of guy who's probably funny for like 5 minutes, then just a real drag to be around. The other dude is Stanley Uris, an uptight Jewish kid who wears that scout uniform a lot. I
Which
don't know,
is
maybe it helps him get the ladies or something.
very
They bond over
odd.
a montage where they build
I was a
dam
Boy Scout
together
for
out
well
of
over
wood
10
and
years.
old car parts, I guess. And by the end of it, their dam is successful and they've learned the power of friendship, and they're free to splash around in what surely must be disease-ridden Stillwater.
Yeah,
On the
no,
way
that-
home,
that
Bev
cannot
looks
be
longingly
fun.
after Bill and
Like,
quotes Ben's
this-
poetry,
no.
apparently thinking Bill is the author. Sorry about your luck, Ben. When Bev's getting ready for bed that night, she hears a few voices coming from inside the sink saying that everything floats down there. Who's down there, you might ask?
Oh, so is that one of those dual faucets? One's hot water, one's cold?
Yep, all the dead kids. Every last one, I guess. Then a balloon inflates
It
and
is.
blows up and it splatters blood everywhere. But when Bev gets her dad to come help
He
her,
can't
it
see
doesn't
it.
look like anything to him. The blood-spurting sink warns Bev
Doesn't
that
he get,
she'll
like,
die if
covered
she
in
tries
and he
to
still
fight
doesn't see it?
Pennywise, and she sinks to her bathroom floor just in time for a match cut back to the present. Still got 3 losers to go, so on to New York, where a grown-ass Eddie is on his way out the door, having gotten the call from Mike off screen. His mother frets about,
Wow.
telling him there's nothing back in Derry for him, but Eddie takes off in a
His
limo
houses
of
are
the
nice.
company he owns, ready to match cut his way back to 1960. His flashback takes
That
place
was
in the
a
Paramount,
sick
that movie theater
transition.
from the opening credits, where the losers watch the Wolfman movie. After Eddie accidentally kicks his popcorn over the balcony onto Henry and the other greasers, Richie takes them all to the danger zone by purposefully pouring his soda all over their heads. The losers run away from the theater, giddy over their guerrilla strike against the bullies, and Eddie says he's having the time of his life until his mom comes out and shoos his friends away. She
why?
reminds him not to shower at school because of germs, but the gym teacher tells him he needs to.
Were
so
you
he won't
supposed
be
to
a
shower
smelly
at
boy.
schools?
Eddie heads to the showers by himself, and the faucets start taking on
And
a
doesn't
mind of their own,
Pennywise-
getting hotter and expanding out from the wall to start covering Eddie and blocking him in from escaping. face. Then things get even weirder when clown hands start
What's
coming out of
crazy
the
is there's
drain.
just
Pennywise
somebody
pulls
off
apart the shower
screen
floor and
holding a
pops out of
pipe
it like some kind of evil clown Diglett.
pushing it out
for a while before putting on his scary face. Oh boy, Tim Curry, you are one scary evil fucking clown, dude. Even the movie's like, that's enough of that shit, and we dissolve back into the present to wrap up Eddie's relatively short flashback. Next loser up is Richie in Beverly Hills. If you thought he was obnoxious as a goofster preteen, then hold on to your butts, because now he's an 80s stand-up comic, and it doesn't get much worse than that. Plus, he's not Seth Green anymore, so that sucks. He's doing well, though, performing on TV, but Mike's phone call brings back memories so upsetting he slides all up next to his toilet to pray to the match cut god. His prayers are answered and we're taken back to 1960 to story time with the kids. They talk about what they want to be when they grow up, and Billy looks like he's gonna
really
tell
close
them
to that
about the
fire.
photo album, but then a super Irish cop interrupts them and tells them they should always stick together because kids be disappearing, yo. They put their hands in and tell Officer O'Krupke they'll be safe. Hard to stay safe at school when you've got murderous greasers about, though.
Dude, did they not see them standing there?
Larry, Curly, and Mom. Beep, Richie.
And even follow up his soda trick with some lunch food to the chest. He runs into a teacher who demands he clean up his mess, but when Richie goes to the basement to get a mop, he's greeted by a freaking werewolf. The werewolf costume doesn't look great, but you know, just pretend it looks awesome, and maybe you can imagine the terror Richie's supposed to be feeling right now. As Richie's running away, the werewolf turns into Pennywise.
Beep, beep, Richie.
Who plays that hit single of his that everyone always loves
What
to
is
hear.
it?
They all.
Oh. I didn't realize how many times they said it.
Richie. Although to be fair, anything Tim Curry does is sexy, so I'm not even sure he was trying. Seth Green Richie goes to bed terrified that night, and Match cuts his way back to 80s
How can you
stand-up
sleep
comedy.
after that?
Back in the dairy library, Mike looks at a photograph and decides that it's a good time to have a flashback of his own. So he reminisces about the time he was giving a presentation in class on the historical disasters that have befallen dairy. He earns the ire of Henry Bowers and his new expanded group of greasers for being black. They chase him down the street and into a gravel pit construction area. Here the other losers are hanging out and talking about how they've all seen Pennywise
saved him
now, except for Scout Trooper Stan, who's skeptical of the whole situation. Stan's too logical for this kind of thing.
Wait, does he not
just
run
isn't
into Pennywise?
possible.
But the others assure him it's real and the cause of all the missing children lately. When Mike runs into them for help, they defend him from the greasers by throwing rocks at him. Nothing like a good old-fashioned rock.
Don't even try to
really
dodge
get
it.
The juices flowing. And besides, that's what kids did back before they could just get into flame wars with each other on Twitter. They scare the bullies away, but not before Henry promises to kill them all someday. Mike officially joins the club and they become 7.
Lucky 7.
They take a group picture together to commemorate the formation
and that's
of the
what she was
group.
looking
Honestly, I took a very similar group picture with my nerdy friends back in high school at a construction yard we'd always go play airsoft at. Yeah, I'm the one with the center part of the Star Wars shirt. The kids go through Mike's photo album and find drawings of Pennywise.
You know, that's fair.
They also dropped the title in this scene.
Me in high school is a totally different. I don't even, people don't even recognize me from high school.
With Pennywise running up to the kids and telling them he'll kill them all and that he's everything they've ever been afraid of. He reaches out to grab them and it's way too much for Stan, who shuts the album and tries to deny what they all just saw. He finally admits that he saw it, but he's reluctant to join in the club's call to action to do something about it. But after Bill gives an impassioned plea for them all to help him kill it, they huddle up in a friendship hug and agree. Mike wakes up from his flashback and his section ends with a scary balloon pop.
Dude, why is there a balloon there?
If you're counting along, you know there's only one more loser to meet, so we head to Atlanta, Georgia, where Stan is living a very comfortable life. Oh, and he's played by Richard Monster, who was Clark the dog handler in The Thing.
All these people in The Thing, I skipped that one.
He gets the phone call
because apparently it's too good of a movie to not to see in a YouTube video
he leaves his
or
wife
review.
to go upstairs and run a bath, and yep, you guessed it, Match cut his way back to 1960. The Lucky 7 are practicing with a slingshot, shooting at cans and glass bottles in a creek because that's what kids did before they had hyper-realistic first-person shooters to play. They all suck at it except Bev, who shoots a perfect 10 out of 10 and is thus designated the party's ranger.
How are you even that accurate with a slingshot?
Magical items, some solid silver earrings, and the kids figure that as long as they believe in it, those babies can kill Pennywise. Sufficiently armed and leveled up, the kids head to the sewers, stopping only to reaffirm their friendship.
Well, good thing Pennywise gave him his address.
Although Stan is kind of reluctant and the last one to do it. Stan? They head inside, unaware that Henry and his cronies are watching them, ready to follow them in and make sure they never come back out. Kids killing other kids, you know.
Also, what is the point of? Yeah, what is the point of them? Like, they don't seem to accomplish anything.
Going off by himself to corral the kids into an ambush by Henry and Belch. This doesn't work out so great for Vic though, because a super bright light starts moving underneath the floor towards where he's standing, eventually popping out of the rain and coming at him for another POV kill, getting all up in his face with them bright lights, kind of like a cop waving a flashlight in a drunk driver's face. The kids venture deeper into the sewers, only to have Stan get grabbed by Henry and Belch, who reminds him what his name is.
Really?
It gets me every time. Henry takes his knife
Why
and
is
starts
that?
picking off
Is that supposed
Stan's
to be
butt,
funny?
But before he can get super psycho murder greaser on him, that bright light be coming down the pike again
To
and
save
it's headed straight
him?
towards those kids. Oh shit! It
But
bursts
is
out of
the-
the pipe, knocking away Henry and Stan and sucking up
But
Pelch back into the
they're
pipe.
holding a
Pelch
knife.
gets folded in half and pulled into the pipe for a bloodless yet still pretty eerie kill. The fourth of the movie and the first to be kind of actually on screen. The light comes back and
Yeah.
pops out the pipe to say hello to the boys again, but Stan's smart enough to GTFO while
Yeah,
Henry
to
sits
get
there
out.
dumbfounded. We don't
And
get
does-
to see
what
he
happens
does,
there?
but whatever it is, it scares him enough to turn his hair white. The light ignores him for now, though, opting instead
Wait,
to
his
chase
hair
Stan down the
actually
tunnels
turned
as
white.
he runs to reunite with
Why?
his friends. They huddle up together and fall to the ground
Did it
as
not
the light
break,
approaches them
like,
and passes
go
overhead,
search
where we get
for
a
him?
glimpse of the thing's bright light underbelly. I don't know, guys. That might just be a TMNT float with some sick LEDs on it. It might be
It
okay.
literally looks
After
like a
it passes
turtle.
over them, a fog fills the
I know
chamber
what
and
it
above the
is,
smell
but,
of
like-
sewer fog in the morning. And then all the kids start seeing things that scare them, like a little dead Georgie for Bill, abusive Papa Marsh for Beverly, and some manicured werewolf claws for Richie. Stan tries to find his center by repeating the Scout oath to himself a whole bunch of times, but that doesn't stop
What?
Pennywise from appearing out of
Is it
nowhere.
the actual
and
Boy Scout
kidnapping
oath?
poor Stan away from the group. He tells Stan
Nobody
be
trying to
afraid,
stop him or anything.
Tastes so much better when you're afraid.
and laughs at their threat to kill him because, as he says, he's eternal and the eater of worlds. Right as he goes to nom down on Stan, though, Eddie steps up to the plate to be a hero.
This is battery acid, you slime!
Believing makes it real, so Pennywise's
Oh,
face starts
yeah.
melting off, and Bev takes her one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow, Bev. She doesn't. She
Okay.
hits him in the head, causing a bright light to shine out. But before she can get off a second shot for a confirmed kill,
He
Pennywise
vanishes.
jumps his way to freedom, hopping straight into a drain with a special
Dude, what
effect
a-
that doesn't quite hold up.
No,
Sorry,
it doesn't.
Mason.
That
Bill
effect
grabs
is
his
raw.
hand in an attempt to keep him from escaping, but the hand becomes a claw and Pennywise gets away. The kids have no choice.
Yeah, I'd let it go
but to
too.
hope that they did enough damage to kill it, so they leave despite Bill's desire to follow it. Outside the sewer, Bill makes them all swear an oath.
That if it isn't dead, we'll come back.
One by
Yeah.
one, the kids all put their
And
hands in
then
and swear
they
allegiance,
come back as
although
adults.
Stan takes a while and is the last to do so. Stan's really not coping with this whole thing that well, guys. I
No.
think that's proven when we jump back to 1990 and his wife comes upstairs to find him in the bathtub with his wrist slit. Stan has killed himself, simply
Oh.
too terrified and unwilling to face Pennywise once more. He leaves a bloody
I
note
forgot
on the
about that.
wall, and part one of it concludes with his wife screaming in anguish. And that's going to be it for today,
Okay.
kids. The
Well,
miniseries
no, it's
aired
not,
in
because
two
we're doing the
parts back
next
in
one.
1990,
Because
and
it's
I'm
like
gonna have to do the
400
same
kill
with the
counts.
kill count, because there's just too much story.
Kill
to
count's
do
gonna be on the
in a single
channel for a
video.
long
So
time.
far, we've got
Oh,
5
long
kills,
time.
though, which is a little more than you were expecting, I'm sure. How many more are left? We'll find out on Friday
Not that
when I
many.
release part 2 of this video. Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching part 1. of
Yeah,
my Kill
the
Count
Child's
for It.
Play.
I wanna thank some
That
of
was
my
last
patrons
week.
Like Desiree Peters, Brendan
And then we're gonna
Donovan,
do
and
more
William
Child's Play
Stewart.
next
If you want
weekend.
to join the Patreon family, click
The
that button
movies.
right over there. You'll have access to polls and updates and all sorts of things. Hey, also, if you're in the Philadelphia area and you're looking for a pet, why don't you try out Pals Adoption and Life Care Society? They're on Facebook, and I hear they're a
Oh.
pretty cool place. Part 2's on
Oh,
Friday.
that's
See you
cool.
then.
Okay, part 2. Which, I know how it ends, kind of.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we
Like I
tally up
said,
the
I
victims
saw
in all our
Nostalgia
favorite
Critics
horror
video.
movies.
That's-
I'm James A. Janice, and today we're continuing
That's my
our look
understanding
at
of
the
it,
miniseries version
which
of Stephen King's
I'm
It.
sure he
The
didn't
series
cover
was aired in
everything.
2 parts on ABC in 1990, and similarly, I had to make my Kill Count coverage a 2-parter because there's just too much damn story to tell. If you need to watch part 1,
Fair.
where 5 people have died so far, click the bubble in the upper right corner of this video to check it out.
There's no
Otherwise,
bubble,
let's
I'm on
jump straight
Xbox.
back into the kills. Part 2 begins with Bill and his
That is
black-ass ponytail
pretty
arriving
sick
back home
logo
in
for a
Derry,
taxi
Maine.
company.
He visits his little brother's tombstone, but gets his morning session interrupted by Pennywise digging some graves. There are 7 of them, but one of them's filled. It's
Oh,
Stan. Bill tells
yeah.
Pennywise he's not afraid of him. Not very convincing.
how does
I might
it
add,
know?
and heads to the library where he and Mike reunite with a solid-looking manhunt. Bill admits that he doesn't really remember anything, and if you hadn't noticed, none of them really do except for Mike. Probably because he never left Derry. Mike says he has something that'll
Fair,
help jog
yeah.
Bill's memory.
Everybody else
and
went on
it's
to,
his
like,
old
big
bike Silver.
cities
They
and
fix
big
it up
life.
And then have a grown-ass men riding a bicycle montage, complete with
Sharing
such
a
hits as the
swing.
teeter-totter up and down and the bullfighter
How do you
special.
even
It's a
keep
sweet
balance?
montage, I guess, but I'm more than happy when it ends on a creepy note after they spill cards on the ground and see Pennywise on the back of them. Next to arrive back in Derry,
You know,
is
they would
Richie,
sell
who's
that.
outraged by the closing of the Paramount Theater and even more outraged at the latest
What
film
car
they're
is
playing.
that?
Oh, never heard of that one. What's it got on Rotten Tomatoes? He gets
Oh.
to the library, but since Bill and
Yikes.
Mike are out doing their Butch and Sundance
They're not
montage,
there.
he has to sit there and wait for him. Pennywise waits with him, offering him a balloon.
Is this
for
when he
his trouble.
does that?
Pennywise, what if one balloon's not enough?
Zion!
Haha, that's better. I could do without the blood stuff though. Richie gets
Yeah.
blood all over his face, looking like the world's messiest vampire.
How does he
while
even
Pennywise
see?
sits on the balcony and cracks jokes.
Do you have Prince Albert in a can? You do? Well, you better let the poor guy out.
Yeah.
Guys, if you ever find yourself having as much fun in your life as Pennywise is here,
Dude, Tim Curry on set must
Richie's
have
not impressed by Pennywise
just having the best time of his life.
So he pieces out. Taking a taxi into town is Ben, who has his driver pull over so he can hike on down to the Barrens and say hello to his old friend, Moldy Skeleton Guy. Yo,
it's still there.
You haven't aged a bit. Back in the taxi,
Whose skeleton is that?
Visions. First one of Pennywise standing on the side of the road, and then an ominous balloon in his cab. Eddie pulls into town next and heads to a pharmacy where he remembers a time from his childhood when the pharmacist revealed to him that his inhaler wasn't actually any medicine. It was just a placebo designed to make him feel better. Eddie overhears the same pharmacist in the back, now an old man, and after a brief heart-to-heart, the old guy grabs his arm and gets creepy.
Get out of Derry while you still can.
Old Eddie gets out.
Why did that happen?
Derry, since, you know, Stan's dead. It's Beverly, who's paying a visit to her old house. She finds out her dad died 5 years ago, but the old lady living there now welcomes her inside for some tea and memories. Things start getting
completely left that part of her life.
Her tea noisily. Her teeth all of a sudden look like she's been a lifetime tobacco chewer. And oh yeah, Bev's tea is actually a cup of blood. Bev's on a strict no blood diet though, and while the old woman is cleaning up the broken teacup, she turns into the freakiest looking corpse thing in this entire movie. Then starts talking like Bev's dad.
I worry about you, Bevy. I worry a lot.
Bev flees, and when she's safely outside the house, she looks back to see Pennywise.
Don't just stand in the middle of the road.
Then she looks again and sees that the house is actually boarded up and abandoned.
So where were you?
Bev's little segment here. Then we unexpectedly jump back to England, where Bill's wife is chatting with a guy involved in that movie he was working on. The suit tells Audra not to mess up her career by ditching the production, but she's so concerned about Bill that she ignores his advice and gets a ticket on the next main-bound plane. It's finally time to get everyone back together, and what better place than a Chinese restaurant? Eddie and Ben are the first to arrive, and while they're hugging it out, Bill and Mike walk in, no doubt exhausted from their day of riding bike together.
Which
Richie
is so
his nerve when he sees them
odd that they did that.
Pep talk to himself in the
so like
bathroom
they're still
mirror,
kids.
He returns to them with his shtick dialed up to 11.
All right, who got bald and who got wrinkled and how many got chillin' got wings? Beep beep, Richie.
Finally,
I guess they haven't seen each other in a long time.
She's a very pretty lady. She greets them all with hugs and kisses, and especially sultry kiss for Bill. Damn, Bill, you got a wife, dude. Then they toast to the Losers Club and have what the hell?
Everyone?
Another montage? Yeah, this one's even longer than the bike thing, and it's just them feasting out and dicking around. Man, I hate adult Richie. They start catching up each other and the audience as the camera swings around them over and over and over and over.
Having a good time.
Again. Anyone else feel nauseous? They mention how Henry Bowers,
but they still don't know about what's his face.
Kids back in 1960, but nobody would believe all his clown talk. Now Henry's hanging out in a psych ward down the way, a sad old man just trying to get some sleep, but he can't because the goddamn moon keeps talking to him and won't shut the hell up. Moon Pennywise tells Henry he's got work to do, that he needs to go back to Derry and finish killing all the losers there. Henry's all like, yeah, Mr. Moon Clown, sounds good to me. Henry
with the white hair.
The losers
still
are finishing up their dinner with a round of fortune cookies, and their fortunes.
Dude has the inhaler on the table. Why?
On thin strips of paper. Instead, it's stuff like blood and cockroaches and freaking eyeballs, and this little crab thing that looks like a Happy Meal toy. Oh, and a dead baby bird, but that might just be an order of Baloo. The crew takes refuge in Mike's library, where Richie just goes on and on and on. Holy shit, if I die and go to hell, it'll be in the audience of a never-ending 80s stand-up comic show.
It's great to be back in Derry, breathing in that old Derry air. Beep beep, Richie.
Yeah, Richie, beep fucking beep. The only thing that gets him to finally shut up is the news
hearing
that
about
Stan's
Stan,
dead, baby. Stan's dead. Obviously, this brings the room down, and Bill reminisces about a time he saved Stan from something scary he saw. Apparently, one time Stan got called into a big old house by a mysterious voice, and once he was inside, the door locked behind him, and down the stairs came a mummy. Damn, man, just breaking out all the classic monsters for this movie, huh? And apparently Frankenstein and the creature from the Black Lagoon are in the book, too. Eddie talks about how Stan was the only one to see its true form in the sewer, and mentions something Stan told him.
He said, I looked into its deadlights.
Oh,
and I wanted to be there.
When they go for a drink in Mike's work fridge, they instead get a bunch of balloons that all float. And Stan's decapitated head, which roasts each one of the crew in turn, then converts into Pennywise's voice for his big show-stopping finale.
We all float down here. They all float.
God, I love it when he does that one. They all float down here. Yeah. It's a classic. The library starts going all paranormal activity on
now
the
I understand why.
Friendship huddle and shut that shit down.
That's like any It merch or collaboration. It all
else for the night.
It all float down here or
Henry
whatever.
Gets a visit from an undead Belch who he has a telepathic conversation with. Belch tells him he's going to bust him out so he can contract Henry out to kill the losers one by one, and gives him his old switchblade as a signing bonus.
Oh, okay.
As Henry approaches the exit, the security guard Coon steps out to rough him up, but it steps in to intervene, appearing as a clown with a freaking Doberman head and knocks Kuntz down, killing him in the standard slow motion point of view shot that this miniseries leans way too heavily on, but probably had to because, you know, it was a network miniseries. Now at a quaint hotel, Mike catches everyone up, reminding them of all the kids that were disappearing in 1960. He tells them that every 30 years, some evil shit goes down in Derry.
In 1930, the explosion down at the old ironworks. In 1900, the massacre at Drake's Creek.
They remember grown-ups who refused to acknowledge the evil in their town, like a teacher and the old guy across the street from Bev who ignored her when she was getting harassed by Henry Bowers. Mike reflects how they have to stay together to be strong and about how they're all special.
But they don't have stands.
6 of you left Derry and became unusually successful.
While Mike's circle jerking everyone's egos, Audra pulls into town at an old gas station and the attendant turns into Pennywise.
Don't you want your balloon first, Miss Denborough?
Then Pennywise gets real sexy creepy with her.
Don't you want it?
Are those the deadlights?
Don't you want it?
I mean, I kind of do, but mostly because you're Tim Curry. Audra's not quite dead yet, though, so she avoids being added to the kill count for now. The gang shoots the shit some more, Ben telling everyone how he lost all his weight, and Bev telling them that as a child, she felt like she was going insane over the bloody sink business until the day they all came over and confirmed that it was real, then helped her clean it up.
I fell in love
they all
with
saw
you
it.
guys that day.
I'm not sure, but I wonder if that line is a reference to an infamous scene that happens in the book, but doesn't happen in this movie and won't happen in the new one. If you're curious, just look up Stephen King's It Gangbang. Or, you know, maybe don't. Despite Mike's earlier warning to not split up, some of the guys do briefly separate when they go upstairs to grab
not a lie is
during this separation, they get hit by evil shit because that's what happens in Stephen King stories. For instance, Bev comes into Ben's room and recites his old poem about her, revealing that she eventually figured out it was him who wrote it, not Bill. They start making out, but when he sneaks a peek in the mirror to get a look at dad ass, it's these unflattering clown pants he sees in the reflection. Yep, dude, you were just swapping spit with Pennywise.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Cross that fetish off the bucket list. As bad as that is, things are much worse for Mike when Henry Bowers ambushes him from the bathroom and stabs him in the side with a switchblade. Ben and Eddie break into Mike's room and rescue him, and in the process, Henry stabs himself in the chest, killing him to rid the group of evil Danny Zuko once and for all, and giving us the 7th kill of the miniseries, a whopping 2 hours and 33 minutes.
It's an accident.
The gang rushes Mike to the hospital and stays overnight.
Okay, how many people were in that car?
A real big meanie. When Ben comforts her, she recites his poetry to him, freaking him out because of the whole clown pants dalliance he had the night before.
Everybody's on edge.
Is that you in there? Is that the clown?
She assures him she ain't got no clown inside, and they make sweet, sweet lip love. Back inside,
little two-tone date just
on Mike by a doctor played by a dude who couldn't give less of a shit about this role.
Like a 34 millimeter, probably 31.
For just a minute.
Mike gives Bill the silver earrings and tells him that he went back into the sewer by himself 10 years ago when he was feeling down in the dumps and willing to let it kill him for all he cared. Instead, he found those earrings and knew they'd come back in handy one day. The gang covers up Henry's body at the hotel and prepare to get the hell out of Dodge. But on his way out the door, Richie overhears the television talking about the latest victim found in Derry, a 5-year-old little girl. Do I add her to the count or not? I'm gonna go with no because it's a news report. Sorry,
but the recount would probably count it, right?
The gang is all ready to hightail it back to their respective homes, but Bill gives a moving speech that harkens back to when they were kids.
This time I'm gonna kill it.
Help me. Help me.
Another friendship huddle affirms the others will stay.
I like how they're also like, yeah, no time to leave.
We're going it haunted.
We don't need.
The party gears
I guess
up
it would still be haunted, or maybe they've done all these years that be haunted.
Silver earrings, but Richie's a bit of a sourpuss and complains about the whole thing. Not enough to run off though. Nope, the 5 of them head back through the Barrens one last time and into the sewer station. They find a purse that Bill recognizes as belonging to Audra, which sends him running down the sewer tunnels by himself like a stupid dumb idiot. But turns out that was just a dramatic commercial segment, and as soon as the movie returns,
he's
the gang
right
gets
around
back
the corner
together and continues on as a team. Ad breaks, am I right? They finally
I guess that was a good cliffhanger to make sure people
they faced off against Pennywise last time, and sure enough, shit starts going down again. First, they see a paper boat sail on down to where they're standing, and then they're greeted with the greenish sight of zombie Georgie, who's still kind of a cute kid despite all the festering on his face. Bill wills ghost Georgie away by denying him any power, and then an image of Pennywise appears like it's being projected onto the wall by a substitute teacher who, you know what, just doesn't really feel like teaching that day.
Dude,
although Richie complains that there's no way they can fight evil incarnate.
I wonder what substitute
Bill
teachers are like nowadays.
It wakes up every 30 years and it feeds. And in order to feed, it has to take on some kind of physical form.
But why every 30 years?
That's pretty much the TLDR of what it is, in case anyone asks. They set the boat afloating and follow it deeper and deeper into the sewer system, all the way to this bone door straight out of a grim fairy tale. Before they go in, Eddie tells them he's a virgin because he's never loved anyone but them, and also because in the movie they didn't get around to the whole gangbang thing. This scene does, however, add to my suspicion that he's a gay-coded character. They finally open the door into the ultimate set piece, a big old cave with spider webs everywhere that hold
because it's a giant
one
spider.
Bill's wife. Before he can go get her, it comes out as a
giant spider.
Yep. It's a big-ass spider. Surprise?
With
I mean, he's
not
not
great
technically
effects.
a spider. It looks like he's only got 6 legs, but he's
yeah,
pretty
technically
much
it's not a
It
spider.
can definitely look better, but what are you gonna do, guys?
Oh, is
They
it
have a
an
miniseries
alien or
budget,
something?
And the book has him going through space-time and shit. Bev shoots
Wait,
Spider
really?
with silver pieces, but she misses the first one, and the other just bounces off his
That
exoskeleton.
she-
It Spider
didn't
rears
believe.
up and is all, "Get in my belly!" His dead lights blinding Bill. The lights also blind Ben and Richie when they go to try and help him. Bev runs off.
They
to
should
fetch her arrows,
definitely
and
not
Eddie
look at
remembers
them.
his battery acid moment from childhood, so he tries it once more.
This is battery acid. Now you disappear.
Except it doesn't work this time, and
Oh.
Hit Spider picks him up with his spider hand claws.
Very
and squeezes
gently.
him. Bev manages to find an earring and aims it straight for the deadlights. She lets it go, and it's a direct hit, giving
And
us this
does it.
weird keyed-in fireworks show in It Spider's belly. It Spider
keyed
drops
in.
Eddie and
It's
runs
literally
away, but
keyed
it
in with
looks
a
like the
green
damage is
screen.
done. The rest of the gang holds Eddie in their arms as he dies, our 8th victim in this movie,
Oh.
almost 3 hours in. Bet none of you
3.
expected this to have
Oh, I
more
guess
kills than
it's
Scream,
two-parter.
did you? Eddie's death rallies the remaining losers, who aren't gonna let it escape again.
That thing comes back when I'm 70.
Let's finish it.
Yeah.
Find
I'm
it
not
limping
doing it when
away,
he's 70.
and weak, so
Fair.
they go and push it over and then kick and punch the crap out of it. Through their
Out of the
teamwork and
deadlights.
Bill's crazy determination face, they're able to kill it. And yeah, kicking and punching's a little lame, but they also tear its heart out like they're Jim Carrey.
How'd
in
you
that
know where
fantasy
its heart
sequence
was?
During Dumb and Dumber. So you know what? I'm not gonna shit on it too much. With it dead for good, its evil spell is lifted, and Bill catches Audra as she descends from the ceiling in her little
Before
cocoon.
it was
She's
too late.
catatonic though, not the best news for Billy Boy. So it's a
No.
bittersweet moment when they're standing outside the sewer with her and Eddie's body. Womp womp. Narration from Mike lets us know that he wrote everything
Wait,
down so
did
he
she
wouldn't
actually-
forget anything.
did she make
that
it
he
or
thinks
not?
it's
I
time
don't know.
for him to finally move on from Derry. He sums up what became of everyone else. Richie got to star in a movie that looks like it would go straight to video and still lose a ton of money. Bev and Ben got married and pregnant in a matter of weeks after the incident.
Weeks?
And Bill and Audra are just now leaving Derry, even though Audra is still all messed up. Before he gets in the taxi though, Bill sees his old bike Silver, which sparks one last idea to give us a happy ending. He takes Audra on a very dangerous
Does it-
joyride through the streets of Derry,
does it
and the magic of
wake
his
her
love
up?
and his noble steed are enough to snap her out of her trance. She comes to during
Oh,
what must be
nice.
the most terrifying bike ride of her life, and the two embrace in the middle of an
Why is there a
intersection.
heel?
The camera pans out, and the credits start with one last laugh from Pennywise.
That- Okay.
Do I look older? I feel older because I just summed up a 3-hour movie for you guys. At least it was a good one.
The amount
A
of,
decent amount
like
kills,
work
too.
that goes in all
How
these
many?
videos. Like he has to
Let's find
watch
out
it.
and get to the numbers.
Does he do it all himself, or does he have a team? Like, nice. That was cool. That was a nice little effect. Like, does he sit down and
There were
watch it
9
with
deaths in
people?
Stephen King's It, which is 9 more than some of you
Which is
expected, because I guess
nuts.
you really don't know this story. Of the victims, 1 was a little girl, 7 were males of various ages, and the last was a giant evil demon spider clown thing. Yeah. That's a weird breakdown when it comes to gender, so, you know, whatever. At a runtime
Yeah,
of an
don't even
insane
do the
3 hours and
percentage.
7 minutes, that comes out to a kill, on average, about every 20 minutes.
Which is
Golden
the higher than
Chainsaw
you would
Kills
think. It's
Bill
gonna be
doesn't have a lot of
the
options,
tube.
so I'll give it to Belch. There's
Yeah.
no blood or anything, but I think it's cool the way he folds in half, and his
With
facial
that look on his
expression is
face,
one of
yeah.
frozen terror, which really sells it. Dull machete for lamest kill? Take your pick. I guess Vic, since we never even hear a description of what happened to his body. And that's
Ah,
it.
yeah.
The ABC miniseries production of Stephen King's
Whew.
It was released in 2 parts back in 1990, and while it has its flaws,
Did
it's
it-
a solid effort when it comes to
did it-
translating
it went
this
well,
massive
right?
book to screen. And hey, don't worry, we get to see another attempt at a movie version in just a week.
He
As
had
for
to do
us,
a
we're
kill
gonna be
count
back
about
on
that
the
one.
Chucky train next Friday.
Yep,
Child's
Chucky.
Play 3. Until then, I'm James A. Janine.
And we're doing Child's Play
This has been the
3
Kill Count.
and
Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching the second part of the Kill Count on Stephen King's It. I wanna thank
Chucky
some of my
being
patrons like
having
Alexander
a dad.
Hardy, Steve Saunders, Cody Harden, and Nick Rivera. Also, guys, we got our pins in. These babies are now in stock and ready to ship. So just head to deadmeatstore.com and order it, and we'll ship
Pretty
it out
sick.
within days. Getting back to Chucky next week with Child's Play 3. Thanks as
Yeah,
always.
Chucky's
Y'all are the best
wild.
fans I could ask for.
Aw. Well, this is really good. Yeah, Bride of Chucky. That's going to be that one in Child's Play 3. That's going to be next week. But this was the It miniseries. Yeah, it's kind of... I think I saw some stuff in here that I didn't see in Nostalgia Critics video, I'm pretty sure, even though it's been a very, very long time and I've recorded thousands of videos since I've recorded Nostalgia Critics It videos. Like I said, they're on my channel. That was my first time ever seeing anything regarding It. I also did the, what was it? The Pennywise versus... Oh, God, it was Pennywise versus... somebody. It was the Epic Rap Battle of History. This series actually replaced Epic Rap Battle of History once I got completely caught up with Epic Rap Battle of History. So now this series is going to come out every single Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Patrons get a day early. I'll be live streaming today at 5 p.m. where I'm playing Undertale Genocide Run. I just started it last week and it is absolutely brutal, and it's apparently going to be really, really difficult. But I look forward to watching more kill counts. Thank you so much for watching them. Hopefully I made your day just a tiny little better. I look forward to reading your comments. But until next video, take care and cue the music.
We were playing